we have a few seconds. Yesterday, I wasn't clear enough. In the 8 minutes that I did before yesterday's shir, I was clear, so I just want to be very clear. You probably, no, not, you're talking about at 3:30 in the morning, you did Daf Tes. I'm talking about Daf Ches. Yesterday's shir at 7:15 in the morning was Daf Ches. But before that, the night before, I put out Daf Ches 8 minutes, and it was clear that Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is actually mechulek with the Tanakama. So you have a case, I'll say real quickly, so just whoever is holding. You have a case where a woman gave birth to 5 sfekas and 5 adois. How many chatois do you have to bring? I wasn't clear about this. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says you only have to bring 1 on all of them. Just to be clear. Okay. And then he has another shaila. Does he have to be mechaven? Does he have to say, he's machlekes Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and Rekiva? Do you have to say specifically it's for the last birth or the vade birth? But it's very important to realize that he only says that you bring 1 chatos. And I wasn't clear about that yesterday. Okay. We're holding Daf Tes today. Daf Tes on the Aleph on top. Benisim, with all these long dapim, we're holding where we need to be holding right now. I don't know how. Maybe because the Olam is not asking that many questions. But Yishar Koyach. Let's continue with that. Tan Yidach. We're discussing a ger. A ger has to bring karbanos when he becomes a ger. Says the Gemara, Tanya Idach, Va'asa Isharech Nechayach Lashem, Shemei Ani, Kol Sha'oyle Le'ishem Afilu Mincha. Perhaps a ger, his carbon, what kind of the carbon does he bring? So we know he brings a oila. The question is why? Why can't he just bring a mincha? So it says in the pasuk, Va'asa Isharech Nechayach Lashem, Shemei Ani, Kol Sha'oyle Le'ishem Afilu Mincha, maybe even a mincha, Tamaloymar. Kasher tasu ken yaseh. We had this yesterday that a ger has to bring a carbon like Klal Yisrael brought a carbon in the midbar. What kind of carbons did they bring in the midbar? They did not bring a mincha. They brought a shlamim and oila. Ma'atem minei damim afem minei damim. So here the Gemara darshans that just like there was blood going on there in the midbar, so he has to bring something with blood. A mincha doesn't have blood, so I know that he doesn't bring a mincha. Maybe he should bring 2. Why isn't it enough for him to bring an oila? Now, if he brings birds, he brings 2 oilas. But maybe he should bring a shlamim animal. So Rashi sticks in a word here. Kachem means b'miktsas, a little bit. You should be like Klal Yisrael, but not completely. They brought a shlamim and an oila. You're a little bit like them, so you only bring an oila. You're not 100% like Klal Yisrael for all the korbanos. Rabbi Yomer, Kochem Kavisechem Avisechem Lenichasu Labris Elo B'Milo Tfilo Vatzaz Dam. Now he says another thing. That, oh, by the way, now that I see the rabbi, Rabbi goes to my brother-in-law shir also. After mine, he goes, right, he's a big Talmud Chacham, he sits and learns the daf. So I just saw my brother-in-law last night, Rabbi Victor, he tells me that his shir now takes at least 2 hours, right? Is that true? At least 2 hours. I mean, it usually takes 2 hours, I think, anyways, I don't know. He's saying that it goes longer than usual. So we have nisim that we were able to do this in 45 minutes. These huge dapim. Akoponim. So it says like this. A ger requires 3 things. What are the 3 things? Bris milah, dam, and tefillah. Okay, the Gemara is going to explain. That's what Rebbe learns from the words kochem. Ma b'seichem le'nichnasu lebris ela b'milah utfilah v'artzaz dam by Har Sinai. They had these 3 things. Afeim lo yikonsu lebris ela b'milah. A ger needs milah. We all know tefillah. We all know hartzaz dam might be a little bit of a chiddush. You have to sprinkle blood on him. If you have to sprinkle blood on a ger, what would be the obvious question? What about today? Where do you get the blood today?
I think you have to shecht him first.
Shecht him. Says the Gemara, Lavi Predo Achas, Yev Shaloim Latzinu B'Chalat Torah Kulo. Fine. So why does a ger bring 2 birds? Let him bring 1 oila. Because there's a minimum. You see in all of the Torah, when somebody brings birds, he always brings 2. It comes in a pair, he has to bring a pair. Lo yamuken ela lo kol olav. V'lo ivatanyo So, like we said yesterday, the reason why it brings birds, really you should bring an animal, but we want people to be able to become converts, gerim. We'll go light on him. He doesn't have to pay all that money for a carbon. He can bring he can bring birds. Now, the Gemara just says, by the way, you said that every time somebody brings a bird, he always brings a pair. I have a couple of cases where you don't bring a pair. Where's the case? Pray them, I would think a person that says, I accept upon myself to bring a bird, he has to bring two. So we have a question. You told me any time a person brings a bird, he has to bring two. I have a case where a person promises, he makes an adava, that he'll bring he could bring one. You're right. If a person makes an adava, okay, let's go easy on him. He's trying to do a good thing. He said he's going to bring a bird. Let him bring one bird. But when the Torah is mechayev a carbon, we never found that in a carbon that's a chiyuv, there's less than two. A woman who gives birth and who's wealthy, she brings Maisa ben Yoina or Torah lechatos. She only brings one bird. Now we know a woman brings two birds, right? That's in our head. A woman brings two. That's because if she can't afford it. But if she could afford it, she brings one bird and a sheep. Says the Gemara, the sheep is instead of the second bird. That's what it is. She does bring two birds, ki'ilu. She brings a pair. One is a bird and one is a sheep.
She's bringing oil and achatas, right?
Right. Even though it's oil and achatas, but the ger who's bringing oil, he has to bring two oilas because birds are a pair. Omar. So let's go back to the ger for a second. B'mila tefila and artzas dam. Bishleim b'mila dechsiv kimulim hayu kol ha'amayotzim. They're all gemalit. They all had mila when they came out. Inami ma'acha ve'ever alayich v'erchim says b'damayich v'emelach b'damay chayi v'emelach b'damay chayi. Two bloods, the carbon pesach, the mila. B'kitzer, we know that they had mila. So ger also needs mila. Hatzaz damim that Moshe Rabbeinu took the blood. Dechsiv v'yishlach es nari b'nei Yisrael v'yalu oilois u'shlamim. It says in the pasuk that he took the blood from the Oilis and Shlamim, and that's the Oilis and Shlamim that we were discussing up until now. He took that blood and he sprinkled it on Klal Yisrael. So you see the concept of blood by Har Sinai. So Memela, over there, when there's Azah, there's sprinkling, you only have sprinkling of blood if there's a Tefillah before. So I know the concept of Tefillah. The leke carbon. Sorry, did I skip something? Yisrael. Elo tefila min alon. How do I know that there's blood? Because they shechted oilos and shlamim. But how do I know tefila? Tefila because there's azah, and azah doesn't go without tefila. So we have three things: tefila, mila, and artzas adam. Now, as the Gemara, what you guys asked before. So if so, if I need these three things, one of the three things I can't do today, which is hazah sadam. So the Gemara, I love when the Gemara, when Vilna does this, the main point of the pasuk is not what it says in the Gemara, but the following word, for the generations. You're supposed to know this, that the v'goymer means, finish up the pasuk, you have to know the pasuk al peh, L'dorasechem for the generations. You makabel geirim forever, even in a generation where there's no karbanos. So we're down to two things. You have to do tefillah and mila, and that's what we do today. Torah Abba. Because of
that pasuk, l'dorasechem.
No, because of kachem. Abai said before kachem, you have to be like Klal Yisrael and Har Sinai, and they had three things. Ger also has three things. Torah Abba. Amazing. Yes, he gets off the hook easy. He doesn't have to bring the carbon because there's no carbon. However, he has to set aside money for his birds because the Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt today, and he has to bring a carbon today. I didn't say Rashi says Amen.
He has a chiyuv when the Beit HaMikdash is rebuilt.
100% he has a chiyuv. So he has to set aside. Now, how much should he set aside? If you remember, we had in the Mishnah the other day, Reb Shimon Gamliel swore that he wants the price to go down. So the price went from a dinar zav all the way down to a quarter of a dinar. So that's the least that we know about in terms of a price of a bird. So he has to set that aside, says the Gemara.
A half a dinar.
Yeah, for two. Says the Gemara, where am I? I need my credit card. You have a credit card on you? Something. It's a card. I don't want to lose myself. All right. Thank you. No, I need a choshever one. Okay, fine. This will do.
Question one?
No. Oh, yeah. This is good.
Okay, I get back.
You caught onto my trick.
What if we did something?
I can't read. All right. So that was Rabbi said so. Rav Elikinoi. Rav Shimon Kfar Nimna Olav Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said no. If somebody sets aside money on the side for his korbanos, one day his wife won't realize. She'll take the money. She'll use it in the makolet, or maybe he'll die. Somebody else will use it. It's a problem. It could bring to atakala, and therefore he abolished the whole minig. Omer Avidu bar Gershom, Omer Avadu bar Rahava, halacha Reb Shimon, who said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, you don't set aside money. A ger doesn't set aside money. And some people say that the halacha is like Reb Shimon on something completely different. That what? Let's not forget what we said. The halacha is like Reb Shimon, and some say it's also on this case that what? The Torah Rabbanim. Ger Toishav. Yeah, the chiv is there. Just you don't set aside money. Yeah, because they did 2 out of the 3. One of the things they couldn't do. It's a technical thing.
And then are they not hear him until they do it? Back to not Yisrael.
So we said, what does the carbon do?
It's not my kid.
It's a good shot. Then he could go. He says, "I'm not a ger. I'm not a ger." Oh, the Beis comes today. I'm not a ger. That it would be a bad time to go back. What?
You can drink whiskey at the Shvei's house after Pesach.
For that minute. Torah Rabbanan. Ger Toshav mutar lasis melacha b'Shabbos. A ger Toshav is a guy who accepts upon himself not to do avodah zarah. So the question is, what could he do on Shabbos? 3-way machlokes actually, 4-way maybe. The first shita is he could do on Shabbos what a Jew could do ki Yisrael b'chol shemayid. What does a Jew do on Chol Hamoed? He could only do davar avid. For instance, if there's a sale in a store, you're allowed to, it's mutter, it's also chiyuv to go buy that's what my wife told me. By us in the hotel, everything is davar avid. All of a sudden, I'm here, and if I don't go today, it's not going to be. I'm going to be in Israel then, so maybe it's davar avid for today. Fine. Only davar avid. What could a Jew do on Shabbos, on Yontif, that he typically can't do on Shabbos? He could cook. Oichal nefesh. Says Rabbi Kiva, a ger toishav, a guy who accepts upon himself just not to do avodah zarah, the only thing he can do on Shabbos is cook. He can do anything he wants. It's a weekday for him. And on this, the Gemara says that the halach is like Reb Shimon Oimer, take out the Ovid Gechavim maybe. Eved v'Ama ha'Toshavim oisim melacha b'Shabbos la'atzim ki Yisrael b'chol. There's a concept called the Eved and Ama Toshavim. We might have not discussed this ever, but if you buy an Eved, it's a question if you even allowed to do it. But let's say you were over and you did it. You bought an Eved who says he's not going to have a bris milah, or he's not going to accept upon himself the mitzvahs. So he's a Toshav. He's an Eved Toshav. So that Eved Toshav is not mechuyev b'mitzvahs like a woman because he didn't accept upon himself the mitzvahs like a woman. So Mela, no, he says no milah, no mitzvahs. So he could be Mechal Shabbos. Do whatever he wants according to Reb Shimon, and that's the halacha. Reb Shimon. And that's what we said before. Either the halacha is like Reb Shimon in the first case, or in this case, or in both cases, says the Mishnah. It's very interesting. Typically, we're familiar with somebody that doesn't have very b'shoigeg, he brings a carbon. Now the Mishnah is going to discuss, and it's part of it is in this Mishnah, part of it later. These are people who bring a carbon, a behema, a carbon, even though they did it b'mezid. For instance, haba al shivcha. We're talking about a shivcha charufa. What's a shivcha charufa? It's a shivcha that's already designated to a neved ivri. So she's somewhat like engaged. Her master says, you are designated to this guy. Comes along a Yisrael, a Jew, and is boil her. so he's chayiv a carbon. If he does it 5 times in a row, that's the next part. Zodin kishoigeg, even does it on purpose, chayiv a carbon. Typically, purpose, you get chveis, kares, misa, malchus. Over here, a carbon. The nazir, she's miyud to neved ivri. She has a yiyud. That's the iser. The Torah says, "V'hi shivcha nechrefes lish." It is a pasuk. The nazir shenitma, and a nazir who deliberately goes and mitam himself. He has an iser. He has to be careful from tumah, and he goes and he's mitam himself. Brings a carbon. Ushvuas heidus. Now, by the way, on the shivcha you bring a asham. The nazir brings his korbanos. Ushvuas heidus is a chatos. Rashi says oil of yared. Ushvuas hapikadain. So Shvuas Haidus, the Gemara is going to explain all these things where we learn from. Shvuas Haidus is a person who testifies falsely that he doesn't know, he can't be a witness, but he really does have the testimony. So he brings a carbon. Ushvuas hapikadain, he swears falsely that about a pikadon that he has. He also has to bring an asham. Chamisha mevim carbon echad al averis harbe. There are 5 cases where a person commits the avera over and over, and he only has to bring 1 carbon. V'chamisha mevim carbon oil of yair. We're not going to be learning this today at all. Elu mevim carbon echad al averis harbe. And now the Mishnah starts the cases of a person that brings 1 carbon on many averis. If he does it b'meizid l'chayre, we're talking about here abba al shivcha b'yois harbe. If he is boiled as shivcha charufa many times, he brings 1 carbon. So if he does b'meizid, obviously he knows what he's doing. If he does b'shoigeg, whether or not it's in one awareness or not, that's a whole different shayla in a different masechta. V'nazir shenitma tumas harbe, and a nazir who became tamei over and over again, and the Gemara is going to discuss how it happens exactly. Chayiv 1 carbon. Habal shivcha minalan. How do we know that you do mezik yeshoyeg the turn rabbanon v'chipar olav akoyin beila osham? Al chataz shechoto milamid shemevi carbon echad al averis harbe. So no, the Gemara wants to know minalan that 1 suffices for all because it says a double lashon. Chatosa shechoto v'nisach loy mechatosa shechoto la'asois mezik yeshoyeg. Nazir shenitma minalan d'chsiv v'chiyamos meis olav b'peta pitoim. Suddenly, but it's a double lashon peta pitoim. Peta ze shogeg. V'chein oimer, I'll prove it to you that pesa means shogeg. And if pesa means shogeg, what does pisay mean? Mezid. V'chein oimer, im pesa beloy eva hadafoi. It was b'shogeg. Pisoim ze oines. V'chein oimer, v'yom Hashem, pisoim, suddenly, el Moshe. Tanya idoch, pisoim ze mezid. V'chein oimer, orm, re'ei, ro, v'nistar, Upesaim avru v'nentru. Psaim would be referring to why they get a einish. The avru, they were over the haver because it was b'mezid.
That's not Miriam, right?
You
V'nichtayv.
have to bring ba'oines, the Torah, it's kosher, you have to bring the shogeg. That's why there's another lashon.
You mean in the first lashon?
Yeah.
Pisaim ze eines, but obviously we're talking about mezid. That's the right of the Gemara.
Right. No, I'm saying
You mean if it's eines kolchken?
kosher shogeg. So mele-
I should have written on the side.
Okay.
They crop pisaim. The mashma shoygu mashma mezid. Umashma eines. In fact, the Gemara v'nichtayv crop pisaim. Pisaim is enough. Why do they need pesa pisaim? Because pisaim means everything. You just told me pisaim can mean that maybe that's what you were saying. Shoygig, mashma mezid, mashma eines, mashma everything. If it's eines, it's certainly shoygig. And memelo mezid. Mezid v'eines kedam maron. Umashma namish shoygig d'chsiv pesiyam l'chol davar. The Gemara brings a pasuk why it means shoygig. So why do I need pesa? It should say pisam, which includes 3 things: shogig, oines, and mezid. Because of pisam, the mashma shogig, umashma mezid, umashma oines have amina kimaisi korban b'shogig. No, if it said just one word pisam, then I would say, wait a minute, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit with the rest of the Torah. The rest of the Torah, you bring a korban and shogig and not an amazid. Obviously, the word pisam means shogig only. Because the shogig who the word Pesach means shogeg, and therefore the word Pisoim remains for Mezid. The Pisoim noines uMezid afilu chayv rachmana. Fine. So I see a limud for Mezid. Shua say this minalan. The Torah Rabbanon bekulam nemer v'nelam. So again, bekulan over here means, Rashi says, bekulan, in all cases of oil of a yored, in the Torah, it says the word v'nelam. We're not going to go into if that's 100% correct and how do we understand that, but I'll upon him, the Gemara says, it says in the Torah v'nelam. He wasn't aware. Where? In the case of oil of yored. Kindly nemer v'nelam. But over here, in our case of Shavuos Eidus, it doesn't mention the word that he wasn't aware. Therefore, it comes to teach us l'chayev al mezid k'shogeg. It's chayev on even if he doesn't be mezid. Shavuos Ebikodan minalon yalev techtach derdim Shavuos Eidus. Once I know about Shavuos Eidus, so I also know about Shavuos Ebikodan. Chamishim mevim korban ha'echad al averis harbei. Tani abba shivcha biois harbe minalon. How do I know if somebody is boil shivcha many times? He's chayev on korban minalon. The Torah Rabbanon v'chibol avakoyin. Bela Osham Achatose Asher Chota. Melamid Shemevi Korban Echad Al Averis Harbe. This limit that we had before Achatose Asher Chota. V'nisl Lo Achatose Asher Chota. Lasis Mezik Shogeg.
Wouldn't it be like not keeping Shabbos?
We gotta move. V'Hakro Kiksiv B'Mezik Siv. Sorry, it's one of those days. It's going to be like that until the end of the Masechta. Then when we get to Me'ilah, then you can ask all your questions because over there they're tough amudim, but they're only 10 lines. And also, whoever asks questions could ask the questions of Kereisos when we get to Milah too. Where is Rafed? Oh, here he is. Mamish Ishkoyach. Thank you. Now it's very interesting. Rashi points out a very geshmaka thing. The Torah says that a shivcha. What are you laughing about now? The Torah says by a shivcha. This shivcha, she gets punished. What does she get punished? With malchus. How could she get punished with malchus? She didn't know what she was doing. She wasn't aware. She didn't know it was asur.
She's not honest.
So the Teretz says that she knew what she was doing. This is Eidim and Esra. Excuse me, 1 second. They gave her Hasra. Okay, now you do your thing. It has to be like Tech Kedediva kind of thing. Hasra. So then he knows also. So what is he called? A Mezid. So the pasuk is talking about Mezid. V'akrok iksiv b'Mezid ksiv. Elo'emo lasi shogeg k'Mezid. Because the Gemara started saying that it's Mezid k'shogeg. That the pasuk is talking about shogeg, and I'm going to learn from this pasuk also case of Mezid. No, it's the opposite, says the Gemara. The Gemara says you're right. It is the opposite. The pasuk is talking about Mezid, and I also need to learn. It's a pelagic thing. He brings a carbon on his mezid, and guess what? What about shogeg? He also brings a carbon. That I wouldn't know. I need a special drasha, so to speak, from this pasuk. The Rogatchover has a lot of proofs from this Gemara. I don't know for a fact, but that famous story that when the guy brought to him that Masechta, that made up Masechta of, what was it, Yerushalmi something? So he looked in it, he said it's false. How? Because there's no new name. That's my Mishigas. Every time I see this thing, this is like the second or third time in this Masechta already with a new name. Chanina Tirna. What? You did have Tirna? Nachanina Tirna. Look it up. Boy, of course, I know Yosef's not looking it up. Okay, soon. If this person, from Rashi's mashma, that he knew what he was doing. So Rashi just says that it's before he brought the carbon. He knew what he was doing, but it was 5 separate women. Maybe it's a special limud by Shiv Charufa. You could do it as many times with different women, and you have 1 carbon. You so then why is it different than 1 woman 5 times? What's the difference? One woman is 1 guf. It's 5 different bodies, 5 different chiyuvim. How do you know to make this distinction by Shivcha Charufa? You say this concept by all our eyes. Visho, The word v'isha l'chalik al kol isha v'isha yichayev on each and every woman. Gav shivchanami ksiv asher yishkav es isha shichva zera v'shivcha l'chalik al kol shivcha v'shivcha. So if it's one shivcha, he could get away 5 times with one korban. But 5 different shvachos, gufim muchalakim, different bodies, chayev 5 korbanos. Nazir shenitma tumois harbe. So I'm just going to borrow a chart from Mitzayra. I don't even know why, but Ruve made this for me. He's not here yet. Somebody has to talk to him to start showing up. But the chart is just for visualization. We'll erase the Mitzayra. Let's pretend it's Nazir. So a similar process besides all these things. So he starts his Tahara, and then he has, what? Maybe I should put it aside. Akapanim. Besides this and that, it's almost the same. The point is that on Yom HaShvi, there's Yom HaShvi and Yom HaShmini by Mitzayra, right? So the question is, let's say this Mitzayra guy, Nazir has to be careful not to touch any tameh. I'm putting my finger here. Nazir he goes and he touches somebody that's tameh, so he has to start a process of 7 days of purification, of making sure that he's tar. Then on the 8th day he brings a korban. So similar question that we had the last 2 days. What's the 7th day? What's the status of the 7 days? Like in between. So if he so machlokes is here. Do we go by his tvila over here, or do we go by the korban on the 8th day? A big nafkamina. Because if you go by the korban on the 8th day, so once it's the 8th day, it's a whole new, he's starting over. So you can't use the korban from the first tumah that he did. It's a whole new counting. But if the korban on the 8th day comes for the purification of all these 7 days, and he became tameh on the 7th day, after they started this process over here, then I have a little bit of a window where he becomes tameh a second time, and the korban that he brings the following day will be mechaper on his second tumah, on his third tumah. He won't bring it. I know you're about to ask me, when does he bring this korban? He brings it all the way at the end after 14 days. But on the 14th day, we became tameh again. So he pushes off the korban another 7 days. But it's one korban for all the tumahs if I have a little window between the 7th and the 8th. So that can only go according to one man d'Amar called Rabbi Yossi, who says there's a window.
So you have to complete the tumah. The series of
Amud Beis. Rav Chizda Rabbi Yossi the Amar. It's Rabbi Yossi Yudi. The Amar Nazirus the Tahara Mishvi the Chayla. When does the Tahara of a Nazir start? From the 7th day. Now he still has to bring a korban on the 8th day. From 7 to 8, he has a window. So he keeps on becoming tameh on the 7th day before he brings the korban on the 8th day. On the 7th day, he can't bring a korban yet. It's too early. He has to wait for the 8th. So the korban that he brings on the 8th day is going to be good enough for the second tumah as well. The Rebbe, but it can't go according to Rebbe. Given the Omar Rebbe, Nazirus the Tahara at Shmini loy chayalei. He says that he doesn't come tar anyways until he brings the korban. So if it became tameh on the 7th day, then there's no chiddush here. What happens if a guy becomes tameh, a nazir becomes tameh on day number 4? Okay, so he became tameh. 4 is the same thing as 1. It's all in the same tumah. He didn't add any tumah, according to Rebbe. According to everybody. But and if he became tameh on the 8th day, given the yatzas. But since the 8th day he could already bring a korban, so he has to bring a korban for the second one as well. There's no window according to Rebbe. We did? That was in the safari. Ayin Sham with the lions. I didn't know what I was saying. I was probably just reading off the thing. So what's the machlokes? In what are they machlok? What's Bayom Ahu? That day, Rebbe says it means the day of the korban. The 7 days, the day that he goes to the mikvah and he shaves his head. That's the day that the tahara starts. but he doesn't become completely tar until the carbon. Memeli, he has a window from tiglachas to carbon. Says the Mishnah, we're continuing the same thing that we're discussing until now. A person could bring one carbon on many averas. What's another case? We're talking about a saita. He tells his wife, don't be mistater with that man, but instead of saying that man, he says that man and that. This woman has a lot of issues, obviously. That man. She's going on shidduchim.
Maybe
She's
she has all the issues. No?
What?
Maybe she has the issues. No?
He has issues. She has kisser. They all. And then once she's mistater, what happens once she's mistater? She secludes herself with him.
Okay.
With the man that the husband said specifically don't, or the many said specifically don't. So now that she did it, then he can't be with her anymore until he goes through the whole process. He can't be at tzaddik and say, okay, I'm mevater. Now she's also to him. So he has to go to the Beis HaMikdash, and one of the things he do in the Beis HaMikdash, she has to bring a minchas knois. So this guy brings it for her, he's a nice guy, he brings this soilus thing. How many does he have to bring? It's 5 separate women. Says the Mishnah, he brings 1. And a Mitzayra who had many Nigoim, he brings 1 carbon. Now, the Mishnah says, hey, Vitziparim, now we can go back to this chart of Mitzayra. You can't read it, but it's geschmack of colors. Over here is the day that he became healed from his tsaras. So what does he have to do? Says Ruvain, step number 1, he has to bring 2 birds. 1 bird flies away, 1 bird you sprinkle on him. He also has to do kibuz begadim, he has to rinse his clothes, shave, tefillah. 4 steps. That's on the day he became healed, not tar, healed from his tsaras. What are these birds? They're not a carbon. It starts the process, so to speak, of the tara. Then he waits 7 days. On the 7th day, again, shave, kibuz begadim, tefillah. No birds. Where are the birds? On day 1. That's the 7th day. On the 8th day, he brings 3 korbanos, 2 birds and a sheep. 1 bird is for chatas, 1 bird is for oila, the sheep is an asham. Okay? Says the Mishnah, hey, vitziporim, he's in this step over here. He finished his birds, vinisnaga, and then he became tummy, he saw tsaras again, loyololoi. So the havamina in the Mishnah, if we just read the words, and the Gemara says it's not true, but what are the words? Loyololoi, what loyololoi? The birds. That's not true. The birds you do 1 time in your life, and that's it. The issue of becoming a mitzvah again are these animals over here at the end, these karbanos. But if we just read the words, the havamin in the Mishnah, Rashi points out is V'nisnaga loy aluloi, these birds are not good enough until he brings the chatas. It doesn't really make sense. Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara is going to ask what it even means. Says the Gemara, Minola, and how do you know that if a person is mekane his wife 5 times on 5 men? He brings 1 carbon, she brings 1 carbon. Zois Torah sakenois. Kenois, plural. Torah achas lekinuyim harbe. Fine. Mitzayra shenisnage negoyim harbe minolan d'chsiv zois Torah mitzayra. Over here it's much harder to understand what the Gemara is saying because it says mitzayra in singular. Zois Torah, different pshatim. Taisis has a pshat. It says in Torah Kahanim it brings. It says kifso achas. Melamed shemevi achas on legoyim harbe. Okay. The Gemara says zois Torah hamitzayra. The Torah is plural. Torah achas limitzayim. In any kind of situation, you bring 1. That's what we just read. You said that in this case of a lot of tumas, you only bring 1 carbon, and now you're telling me you have to bring the birds again. So that doesn't make sense. Says the Gemara, this is what the Mishnah meant to say. You're right. If he brought the tziporim, then he saw tsaras again and again. He only has to bring 1 carbon. So what is the Mishnah talking about? The Mishnah is only discussing when do we decide if this person is wealthy or poor. When do we decide if he could get away with birds because he's poor, or Or perhaps he has to bring 3 sheep. Chatas oila, sheep instead of birds. 1 sheep, he anyways has to bring for his asham. But for the chatas oila, maybe he has to bring. When do we decide if he's rich? Let's say he was very poor over here on day 1, and right over here he won the lottery. On day 5, does he have to bring sheep? Says the Gemara. Oh, so once he brings his chatos, that's it. He locks in his birds. If he won the lottery between the chatos and the asham, nothing. It's not true. If he won the lottery after he brought the chatos, but before he brought the asham, he's considered a wealthy guy. He has to bring sheep. Not asham. Mitzayra she'evi hashamoy. Mitzayra she'evi hashamoy v'heshir hakol hoylech hachachatos. The Rebbe Shimon says that it's dependent on the chatos. Rebbe Yehuda Omer hakol hoylech hachasham. Tanya Rebbe Yaakov Omer hakol hoylech hatziporim. So Rebbe Yaakov says it goes by here. This really makes sense. A guy could become wealthy. Let's say his one of his parents, his father dies. He gets a Yerusha right over here. There's many days. Where over here it's a little bit harder to understand. It's a few minutes. Rebbe Yaakov says it goes by the birds. Or Rebbe Yehuda Omer Rav Shloshim Mikra Echad Darshu. It says in the pasuk Asher Lo Tasig Yodoi. What does Asher Lo Tasig Yodoi always mean? A carbon oil of Yered, depending on how much he could afford. Tasig Yodoi. But then the Torah says B'Taharasoi. When it comes to Torah, what does the word Taharasoi mean? 3 machlokes, what it means. Reb Shimon Sovar Dova Mechaproi. Tahara means kapara. What does kapara mean? Chatos. Reb Yehuda Sovar Dova Machshiroi. The tahara means that allows him to eat kachim. That is done by the asham. What starts the process on the first day? The birds. Zok the Mishnah. This is Geshmak, Rabbi Isai. Very simple. This chart could help a little bit. There's, before we even start, riddle, because we have 8 minutes. What is the first point in time? Rabbi Shomberg can't answer this. Everybody but Rabbi Shomberg. If a woman gives birth to a zachar, it's impossible for that zachar to be a viable vlad, a 40-day-old vlad, 40 days after she gave birth, because she's usher to her husband for 7 days. So when is the first possible time that a woman could give birth or miscarry after she gave birth to a female? How many?
94.
How do you come to 94? I knew it. I knew you would know that answer.
47?
No. So it goes like this. If a woman gives birth to a nekeva, she's tameh for 14 days. That means she can't be with her husband for 14 days. So how many days does it take? When could she give birth to a viable 40-day-old baby? 54, but the following day she'd be, so it's 55 days. Okay, so that out of the way. If a woman gives birth to a nekeva, because we can't be talking about a zachar as we just said, because it doesn't work, the timing doesn't work. So she gave birth to a nekeva right over here, Leda 1. She has 80 days until she brings a carbon. On day 81 she brings a carbon. This is called milois. 80 days, milois. Now, everybody agrees, there's no machlokes, if she gives birth within the 80 days, and we said that could only happen from day what? 55 and on, because 14 days she can't be with her husband, and then you need that the baby should be viable, a 40-day-old embryo.
54.
So it's 54 plus 1, the kids are 55. Let's call it 55. Lo mishaneh, that doesn't matter. But within this time she gave birth again. Here's this line right over here, Leda 2. Everybody agrees that one carbon, the carbon that she has to bring at this line after the milois, after 80 days, is enough for anything that happens in this whole period. One carbon for all her Ledas in here. Everybody agrees that if she gave birth over here, one other thing, and then she had a baby over here, like Leda 3, but let's call it Leda 2. She miscarries, but we'll call it a Leda. This carbon that she brings over here does not work for over here. That's already out of the milois. It's out of the 80-day period. Anything within 80, one carbon is enough. Everything out of the 80, it's not enough.
81.
What's beautiful in this sugya, what's the question, the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim, is what if something connects the two, it breaches the two, it makes another malais. In other words, she gave birth over here, then she gave birth over here, she miscarried over here, and let's call it day 55, just to make it easy. And then she miscarried 80 days later, or within 80 days of the second miscarriage. Does the carbon that she brings over here, does it work for this now or not? Because now they're connected through a birth. But really, what's the question? Do the carbon that she bring over here, do we start counting from day one and she only gets 80 days? Or it goes all the way to the end, we keep on pushing it off, like by the nazar, we said the carbon keeps on moving, and then it just goes backwards and will pattern everything. That's the machlokes here.
She already brought the carbon?
What? She didn't bring the carbon, no way. No. Because she didn't bring a carbon because she had a lathe over here, now the carbon can't go anyways up to here. She had a lathe number 2, miscarriage number 2 happened here, so this carbon that she was supposed to bring, she's not going to bring now. She has to wait 80 days from this lathe. So now what happens if she had another lathe within that? So maybe the carbon keeps on moving with her.
How's she getting all these babies?
Nebuch. Ha'isha sheyolda lo yaleinu v'lodes
The wife's tummy.
harbe v'epila. I'm sure you know people that have these situations. It's
After 14 days.
yeah.
She brings the carbon later.
Later.
Multiple
Nice.
miscarriages.
Givaldik. Yes.
Good, actually.
Multiple miscarriages.
What?
If you're from Brooklyn, you bring the carbon later.
Several nafa.
Very
You
good.
had the time.
Put in the garbage and you bring it later.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. My mother told me that she bring it later.
Less than 55.
Ha'isha sheyolda v'lodes harbe v'epila b'soich shmoinim nekeva chazer v'epila b'soich shmoinim nekeva. V'amapeles tu'umim, if she gives birth to twins. Now, twins doesn't mean twins here, it means triplets. So she gave birth to one over here, then she gave birth to one 55 days later, and then she gave birth outside more than 80 days from the third one to the first one. That's the key.
That's called triplets.
That's called triplets in English. What?
Irish twins. The born within a year.
Really? Okay. Irish triplets.
Very clearly, Irish.
Does she bring one carbon or two carbones because the third triplet was born? It could happen, I guess. She at the beginning of her pregnancy, she miscarried one. She aborts one, and yeah. Rabbi Yehuda mevia ala rishon, ve'ena mevia ala shniya, mevia ala shlishi, ve'ena mevia ala revi. So Rabbi Yehuda says like this. Very good. Rabbi Yehuda says, I bring one carbon for this leda and one carbon for this leda because this birth has no connection to the first birth.
What about the second?
The second one is included in the first one, he says, and the third and fourth are together also.
Brings 2.
Yeah, brings 2 according to it. Minola the Tani Kamed the Rav Sheshe, the Tani Kamed the Rav Sheshes, Zois Toris Hayuledis Lazachol and Keva, Melamich Mevia Korban Echod Al Vlodes Harbe. Yochol Af Ala Leida Ala Ziva. So the Gemara says an interesting thing that right away the Gemara slugs it up. What happens? A woman is a Zava. We'll make it as simple as possible because we have 1 minute. She is a Zava and then she gives birth. So I think that since she's giving birth and she has to bring a carbon on her Leda, it should pater her for all her Ziva. So the Gemara, how's that? Tamalem is Zois. Tony Yochel ala Leda v'ala Ziva ina mevia ela carbon echod ela me'ato ochlo dam. She did avodah zara and then she gave birth the next minute. So she should do 1 carbon for all averis. What connection does Ziva have to giving birth? No connection. In terms of Averis, not Averis, in terms of Tumah, one is a Ziva Tumah, and then a day later she gave birth. What's the connection? Says Gemara, I would think that if she gave birth over here, and now we said according to the Kula Alma, if she gave birth over here, and then she gave birth over here, 1 carbon doesn't help over here, because it's after the 80 days. I would think that it does help. Let's just finish this up. Hold on. Whoever's saying shir, because Noam, you should speak to Noam's wife. Maybe if she agrees, he'll say shir. But right now, it seems like Yedida Kramer is saying shir, because me and Menachem Matar out of town, and Noam had enough. Says the Gemara, and I understand it. So, very simple. Do we count from over here 80, and therefore this is out of the box? I count from number 2 because it's a new count. It's a new count, and the carbon goes on Vlad number 2. Says the Gemara over here for sure. You can't ask questions. Of course, that's the svar here. We're talking about that she gave birth to twins. What happened? A woman gave birth to a twin. 90 days later, she gave birth to the second twin. So I would think these twins were conceived together, they were in the stomach together, so maybe it's one long birth, and that makes a lot of sense logically. So one carbon for one long birth. Kamash Malon, no, since they were 80 days apart, 2 karbanos. Kamash Malon. Have a great Shabbos. The times will be posted, the Magachira will be posted. It's going to be Yedidia Kramer, here's your credit card, thank you.